I am making this announcement in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, laws of the state of New Jersey. Borough Clerk is prepared to schedule the meetings of the governing body of the Borough of Kenworth for the year 2021. The Borough Clerk has posted a true copy of the schedule on the bulletin board located at the front entrance of Borough Hall, and has mailed true copies of this schedule to the local source, the Star Ledger, and the Home News Tribune, and is maintaining a copy of this schedule in her office during the year 2021. During the public health emergency caused by coronavirus, the Borough Council will continue to meet on their regularly scheduled meeting dates at 6 p.m. The council meeting will continue to commence as soon as possible after the work session. Accordingly, the notice requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act have been satisfied in regard to this meeting. Please stand for the salute to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Cesari?
Here.
Councilman David?
Here.
Councilman Finestrella?
Here.
Councilman Ladati?
Here.
Councilman Puglisi?
Here.
And Councilman Penn said he was running late.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of work session and council meetings of August 25th, 2021?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Ladati, seconded by Councilwoman Cesari. All in favor?
Aye.
Communications were received from the New Jersey State League of Municipalities. An invitation was received from Prevention Links for the annual Red Ribbon Walk in Mohegan, and the department reports were received for August.
Okay, is there a motion to accept communications and reports?
So moved. Second.
Motion made by Councilman Ladati, seconded by Councilman Finestrella. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. I hope everyone is safe and well. Ida certainly caused a lot of flooding and damage in our community. I would like to extend a very special thank you to our police department, our Department of Public Works, and our Fire and Rescue Department for their outstanding job working tirelessly together through the night. These men and women are the heroes in our community, and I'm truly grateful to each and every one of you. 10 years ago, we were stunned by the damage of Tropical Storm Irene. Now, once again, we suffered major damage from Ida. It's tragic, and it takes a tragedy to bring people together, and our community has done an amazing job supporting each other, as we always do, and I could not be prouder. The COVID numbers are increasing in Kenworth. Currently, there are 1,141 total cases that have been reported to the health department, of which 42 of these cases have fallen in the past 30 days, with 5 new cases in the last week. The Borough will be holding our 9/11 ceremony this Saturday at 9 a.m., and I hope to see everyone there. Thank you. Finance report, Councilman Ladati.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to start off by thanking the Finance Committee and the Council for approving the budget, getting it in shape, getting it on, well, not on time, but we had it done. And that was important for us. That is our major obligation as a council, is to get the budget done. And we did it, and I'm happy with that. Next is the audit report. Most of the audit report came out on the wrong side of what we want. There was a lot of discrepancies that should have been tested and checked. I mean, if you read the audit report, it talked about discrepancies among all the accounts and the checks and balances that should have been done, and they weren't done. So I'm recommending that a letter be put in the file of our last CFO for not doing this job, for putting it on the back burner. I don't know why, previous years were okay, last year wasn't. There was problems, I guess. But still, it hurts the county, it hurts the municipality. We can't go on like that. So I'm glad we have Ken, who already researched and fixed 2 major problems. You can't have an out of balance GL. Your cash has to be applied You can't have it all over the place and in 6 months out down the road. That's something we can't afford to happen as a municipality, as a council. So, you know, we make sure there's checks and balances. Another thing they talk about is we need more employees in the finance department. And if you read the report, I just don't want to bring anything to that attention right now. Read the audit report and you'll see what I'm talking about. And I think you might agree with some of the recommendations. Next, I'd like to bring on a program that I worked with earlier, was the handyman program. There was some misnomers about what was going on. Handyman program is for our senior citizens who are on the lower end of the salary scale, with their Social Security or with their pensions. Anyone 62 that makes between $35,000 as a single or $60,000 as a couple can call Kathy here at Town Hall, get an application, and it'll be received by Councilman David and myself for review. And we sign off on it, and the handyman program, the handyman goes there and takes care of it. So that's something important we want to do. And I just wanted to mention that during my report. And I thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilman Ladati. Department of Public Works, Councilman David.
Thank you, Mayor. As of September 7, 2021, DPW has collected approximately 42 tons of residents' flood damaged debris, and they have successfully carted away and disposed of approximately 24 tons, and tonnage keeps going up. Since the flood, DPW has allowed residents to put damage goes out to the curb, and they have been picking up, which I commend the superintendent for doing that, because I don't think we've ever done that in the past, but everything's good. That's all I got.
I guess, Mark, just a question. I'm sorry. So, any of our residents, right, as today, they could, or tonight, could put something out on their curb, and then the DPW would pick it up, or would they have to call in advance and let them know that it's there? Or?
Well, it would help if you called the DPW and told them that you put some stuff out that is flood damaged.
All right, fine. And then
They are driving around. They are driving around as well.
Okay, so you don't have to come in and pay the $50?
No, there's no fee for this. It's different.
Great. Sorry about that.
No problem. That's all I got.
Okay, thank you, Councilman David. Department of Public Safety, Councilwoman Cesari.
Thank you, Mayor. I received Chief Seuss's report for the month of August. I'm sorry. Kenworth PD responded to 997 calls for service and 150 911 calls for the month of August. There was a total of 243 and a half hours of overtime for the month, which included 67 and a half hours of overtime worked for the Kenworth Fire Department Carnival. Total of 28 hours of training, which will rise in the next several months with vacations ending and more courses being offered. 19 sick days for August, along with 19 days lost due to on-the-job injuries. On Wednesday, September 1st, the remnants of Hurricane Ida struck the borough of Kenworth hard. Initial reports called for 3 to 5 inches, but those models were quickly outdated, and Kenworth received 8 to 10 inches of rain in approximately 6 hours. We had 5 officers working overtime to deal with the flooding. KPD officers worked through the night to get every resident who needed assistance. Once the rain stopped around 2 a.m., the waters did subside, and by midday on Thursday, most roads were passable. The West End Boulevard by Dorset Drive remained closed until late into Thursday. And after the waters subsided, the major issue became clearing the roadways of dozens of cars which were disabled due to the rising water. Sparrow Towing worked with the KPD to remove all vehicles and reopen every roadway. Chief Seuss is extremely proud of the dedication, determination, and professionalism of every officer who worked through the night, through treacherous and hazardous conditions, sometimes at great risks to themselves. Chief Seuss would also like to commend the Kenworth Fire Department, Rescue Squad, and DPW who worked hand in hand to help every resident and business who needed assistance. And lastly, I have this Saturday, as we all know, is going to be the 20th anniversary of 9/11. A memorial will be in front of Borough Hall starting at 9 a.m. and followed by light refreshments at the rec center. And that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Cesari. Planning and Zoning, Councilman Finestrella.
Thank you, Mayor. The August construction report does as follows. So building fees collected were $6,695. Trust estate fees was $255. Miscellaneous fees were $890. And storage trailer fees were $1,200 for a total of $9,040. The next planning and zoning meeting is tomorrow at 6:30 for the work session, and the meeting will follow shortly thereafter. There is 3 resolutions slated and 2 applications, but 1 application is still on there, but it's going to be postponed until next month, and that's definitely realty. That's all.
Thank you, Councilman Finestrella. Health, Education, and Human Services, Councilman Puglisi.
Thank you, Mayor. Start off with the Board of Health. There will be the health fair on September 25th, 2021, in St. Teresa's, and there'll also be a flu vaccine available. And you can get that vaccine, and I don't know how personally it's going to work, but they say either through drive-through or walk-up. So, again, that's September 25th, 2021, our annual health fair, and that's going to be at St. Teresa's. Also, if you want to mark your calendars, the rabies clinic will take place on November 13th, and that's also going to be at St. Teresa's. We have yet to ascertain a time, but we believe it to be in the vicinity of between 11 and 1. At least that's the last time schedule we had talked about. As to the library, again, they're back to normal hours. For those of you that, work past 5 and don't get home until 6, their late night is Thursdays, and that's till 8 p.m. And also, I mentioned this before, but they have the curbside pickup for anyone that's not comfortable, doesn't feel comfortable going into the library. So all you have to do is call ahead and let them know what you want and who you are, and they'll make arrangements for you to pick up your book and drop off some old ones, perhaps. So, again, that's just another service offered by our library that some other libraries aren't doing at this point in time. And they have children's programs that'll start the week of September 27th. They have Lap Sit, that's for the ages of 0 to 2. For ages 2 to 3, they have Toddler Time and Story Time for ages 3 and up. And these are on various dates and times. You can go on the Borough website and look at the library calendar, and you'll find out times and dates for that. And there are also adult programs, and they meet, it's the Yarnies and the Paper Pals, and they meet on Tuesday and Thursday afternoon respectively. And lastly, for the library, there's going to be a fairly informative workshop, and it's the Medicare Health Insurance Workshop, and that's going to take place on Thursday, September 23rd, from 6 to 7:30 p.m. So if you know somebody, you or yourself know somebody that's in the Medicare system or is about to enter the Medicare system, that's something that you should probably look into for your own benefit. As to the education department, school started today with masks per Trenton, and the, as I advised, Department of Education from the Borough had a public presentation and it just outlined the COVID protocols and what would happen in the case of a possible COVID infection. They also advised that in the event that a student is sent home for safety reasons, that there would be home instruction provided if the student would miss more than 3 days of schooling. That's, let's see, and the last thing I have for the, let's see, this is somewhat education related. There's going to be a food truck festival in town, and that's going to take place this Sunday, September 12th, and that's for the graduating class of 2022. The event will be held from 12 to 5 p.m. in the Harding Elementary School parking loop located at the Boulevard. It will feature a variety of food trucks, including an ice cream truck. There will also be a DJ, a kids area with activities, and a 50-50 raffle. Cost for admission is $5 per person. Children under 5 are admitted free. And again, the proceeds for this event will help fund the class of 2022 project graduation. And just one thing that I would like to, my wife is kind of running this, or she's helping out with it. The departments in town that helped her fund this event or raise this event. And for example, she dealt with the clerk's office and the DPW, which has been immensely helpful to her. And the fact that there are going to be tables out there. We went to an event over the weekend in Riverdale, and they had a street fair. There was no place to sit once you bought the food. So we walked up and down, even though we wanted to buy something from the trucks. We didn't buy anything because I'm not going to sit. I'm not going to eat standing up. So I'd like to thank everybody that's helping put this event together. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Councilman Puglisi.
One question, Councilman Puglisi. Is there a face mask requirement at the library?
I don't know the answer to that. Find out. There is. Laura's telling me there is. Yeah, so...
Because I don't know if they mandated, I know they mandated the schools, I just don't know if they mandated the libraries.
Yeah, I think it was all county buildings, all local public buildings.
So it is a mask requirement.
Yeah, I remember, can't remember when recently they required it, yeah. Oh, no, Laura, or a little birdie just told me about the curbside pickup for the, that's the town is handling right now. That's only for flood-related pickups. So if you just have something lying around and you want to get rid of it, that's just taking advantage of the situation, Joe. It's only if you've had damage as a result of the flood.
Right.
I'm pretty sure we still have the pickup in October, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Technically, we're supposed to have, so.
Okay.
Yeah, let's try to be a little honest here. We just got flooding and stuff.
Right.
All right, that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Next for council consideration is the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Councilman Puglisi, seconded by, who was that? Councilman Fenestrella.
All items on the consent agenda will be enacted by one motion. The consent agenda was introduced by Councilman Puglisi, seconded by Councilman Fenestrella. Councilman Cesari?
Yes.
Councilman David?
Yes.
Councilman Fenestrella?
Yes.
Councilman Ladati?
Yes.
Councilman Pence?
Yes.
And Councilman Puglisi?
Yes.
Next up, I have two ordinances for introduction. The first one is 2021-14, ordinance authorizing the termination of a certain settlement agreement dated as of September 1st, 1994, between the Borough of Kenworth and the Rahway Valley Sewage Authority, the boroughs of Garwood, Roselle Park, the city of Rahway, the town of Westfield, and the townships of Clark, Cranford, Springfield, and Woodbridge.
Okay, the purpose of this ordinance is to terminate the September 1994 amended agreement with the RVSA. Ordinance 2021-10 approved the September 2021 amendment to the new RVSA agreement, but it also requires a termination of the old agreement. Is there a motion to approve ordinance 2021-14 on introduction?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Ladati, seconded by Councilwoman Cesari.
Be it hereby resolved that ordinance 2021-14, entitled an ordinance authorizing the termination of a certain settlement agreement dated as of September 1st, 1994, between the Borough of Kenworth and the Rahway Valley Sewage Authority, the boroughs of Garwood and Roselle Park, the city of Rahway, the town of Westfield, and the townships of Clark, Cranford, and Springfield, and Woodbridge, heretofore introduced is now passed on first reading, and that said ordinance be further considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on September 22nd, 2021, at 7 p.m., or as soon as thereafter as the matter can be reached, at the regular meeting place of the Borough Council, and that at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance, and that the Borough Clerk is hereby authorized and directed to publish said ordinance in accordance with law. Councilwoman Cesari?
Yes.
Councilman David?
Yes.
Councilman Fenestrella?
Yes.
Councilman Ladati?
Yes.
Councilman Pence?
Yes.
And Councilman Puglisi?
Yes.
The next ordinance up is 2021-15, an ordinance of the Borough of Kenworth amending existing Chapter 91 fees and licenses, Article 2, police reports and services, Section 4, fees within the Borough of Kenworth.
The purpose of this ordinance is to include a fee for police officer applications to the Kenworth Police Department fee schedule. Is there a motion to approve ordinance 2021-15 on introduction?
So moved. Second.
Motion made by Councilman David, was it? Seconded by
Jeff.
I'm sorry, Councilman Fenestrella, seconded by Councilman Puglisi.
Be it hereby resolved that ordinance 2021-15, entitled Ordinance of the Borough of Kenilworth, amending existing Chapter 91 fees and licenses, Article 2, police reports and services, Section 4, fees within the Borough of Kenilworth, heretofore introduced, does now pass on first reading, and that said ordinance be further considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on October 13, 2021, at 7 p.m., or as soon as thereafter the matter can be reached at the regular meeting place of the Borough Council, and that at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance, and that the Borough Clerk is hereby authorized and directed to publish that ordinance in accordance with law. Councilwoman Cesari?
Yes.
Councilman David?
Yes.
Councilman Fenestrella?
Yes.
Councilman Ladati?
Yes.
Councilman Pence?
Yes.
And Councilman Puglisi?
Yes.
That's all I have, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay, I have a proclamation this evening, the 20th anniversary of September 11th. Most of us remember where we were when the terrorist events happened on September 11, 2001. September 11th will never and should never be just another day in the hearts and minds of all people in the United States. What will you be doing on this year's 20th anniversary? Will you be reliving the horrific images that overpowered that day? Will you be thinking of the survivors, the first responders who risked their lives, and the families of those who lost their lives and how they are coping 20 years later? Thousands of innocent men and women and children perished when mighty towers collapsed in the heart of New York City, and wreckage burned in Pennsylvania and at the Pentagon. They were family and friends, service members and first responders. The tragedy of their loss left pain that will never fade, and scars our country will never forget. We will always remember those who were brutally taken away from us, and we ask God to comfort the loved ones left behind. Their courage and determination have inspired our nation. As we mark the 20th anniversary of September 11th, we remember what remains the same: our character as a nation, our faith in one another, and our legacy as a country strengthened by service and selflessness. We remember all that we lost as Americans and recognize all that we have witnessed about the character of America. We were united, and the outpouring of generosity reminded us that, through challenges that have spanned from acts of terrorism to natural disasters, we go forward together as one people. We thank God for the unity and compassion Americans have demonstrated since September 11, 2001. The great strength of America is in the heart and soul of the American people, and we will continue to help those who are hurting or are in need. Today, as we remember the victims, their families, and the heroes who stood up during one of the country's darkest moments, I invite you to reclaim that abiding spirit of compassion through service. From volunteering with a faith-based organization, to collecting food and clothing for those in need, to preparing care packages for our men and women in uniform, there are many ways to bring service into our everyday lives, and each of us can do something. Even the simplest act of kindness can be a way to honor those that we have lost and to help build stronger communities. By joining together on this solemn anniversary, let us show that America's sense of common purpose need not be a fleeting moment, but a lasting virtue, not just on one day, but every day. Therefore, be it resolved that I, Mayor Linda Karlovich, on behalf of the Borough Council, offer our deepest and most sincere condolences to the families, friends, and loved ones of the innocent victims of the September 11, 2001 terrorist attacks, and honor the heroic service, actions, and sacrifices of first responders, law enforcement personnel, state and local officials, volunteers, and countless others who aided the innocent victims of those attacks and recognize the valiant service, actions, and sacrifices of the United States personnel, including members of the United States Armed Forces, the United States Intelligence Agency, the United States Diplomatic Service, Homeland Security, the Red Cross, first responders and their families who have given so much, including their lives and well-being, to support the cause of freedom and to defend the security of the United States. In witness hereof, I hereunto set my hand on this 8th day of September 2021. Okay, at this time, I would like a motion to open the floor to the public.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Motion made by Councilman Puglisi, seconded by Councilwoman Cesari. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone have anything to say for the good and welfare of Kenworth? Please come forward and state your name and address.
Good evening, Mayor,
Bob.
Council. My name is Bob Herbert, 14 North 12th Street, Kenworth. Mayor, I'm going to ask you to look into a few things with our school. I'm sure there's a lot of parents out there that are concerned, but they're afraid to come forward. Maybe some repercussion. But there's rumors going around that we have hired an assistant school superintendent for 2 buildings. I just can't see why we need an assistant superintendent. That's number 1. Number 2, our state taxes, our taxes that we pay for our public school, we can find out how much of that money that's sent to the state that they return to our school system to educate and, maintain our buildings. There's a rumor going around that they hold a lot of money down at the state and they don't return what we're paying. And then the last thing, which is a very touchy subject, I'll be brief on it. There's a rumor going around that starting in 3rd grade in our town, they are educating our children about gender. And I don't think our school should be a place to be teaching kids about gender. I know that's a politically correct thing to do in this country today, but we've always been unique and different in our town. And, we need to look into that and find out how we can get it down. So there are the 3 items regarding school there.
Have you addressed these concerns to the Board of Education?
No, I have not, but I am planning to attend the next few meetings to try to find an answer. But I figure you probably have a better chance.
I'm sure that you can get the answers, but I will also look into that for you.
I appreciate that.
Of course.
And then my last thing, Mr. Councilman Ladati, did I hear you say that we need more employees in the finance department or the tax department?
No, I said that was a recommendation by the auditors, that we increase the number of employees so everything can run smoothly and not have the problems we had last year. So that was only a recommendation by them.
But nothing has been considered
No,
or
nothing
discussed
at
at
all.
this point.
But it's just a recommendation that was sent to us.
As you know,
And the
our-
council will discuss it.
As you know, our municipal building is very small, and everybody's crammed in their office space. I don't know where you're going to put these additional people, and if you do consider it, my question is, would it be full-time or part-time additional employees?
I can't even go there.
Okay.
I can't even go there
Just
yet.
curious.
The only thing I know is that the auditors gave recommendations to us, and we read each recommendation, and the council will discuss the recommendations. We seem to have things on track right now,
Great.
which was excellent. That's what I said at the end of my statement,
Okay.
so that'll be good, so,
I know you have a great staff down there, and they work hard,
yes, they do.
and they're always very professional and polite to the residents that come in. So I'm sure, if they hit a few bumps in the road, they'll iron them out, and,
Oh, I agree.
a year or so ago, we deleted a full-time position there to save, save money, and now we're talking about putting, the auditors are
Well,
talking
again,
about...
just a recommendation by the auditors.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
evening. John Zimmerman, 35 North 7th Street, Kenworth.
John.
Good evening. The question I have is the rescinding of the ordinance 2021-12 for further amendment. What brought that about?
I believe the Borough Administrator already explained that.
In the workshop, but I'm just curious as
Okay.
to the semantics of why an ordinance was passed so fast. I understand to save money on the E-Code 360 publishing of that ordinance, but why did that ordinance go through that way? And what changes are planned to be made to it?
I don't know the particulars of what the changes are. I do know that additional changes were recommended. So instead of having to pay for the codification and the advertisement of sames, if we're going to be addressing the same section of the code, it made more sense to just rescind that one and do it once as opposed to paying for it twice. I didn't see the point of wasting the taxpayers' money.
No, I don't see the point of wasting the taxpayers' money either, but why the sudden change of what the original TO was?
Again, I don't know what I don't know what the details are for the changes. I just know that there's going to be more discussion on it.
Okay. I'm just curious as to what, I saw what the original was, and I know that the council was against it, but they passed that when I was the chief of police, and I'm just curious as to what the new TO is going to entail based on what the change of heart was and why the changes are occurring.
Yeah, I don't believe they've met on it yet, but they're supposed to, so.
Okay. I would just suggest that instead of jumping the gun to pass things, to make sure that they're thought through clearly before they become an ordinance, so we don't run into this situation repeatedly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Little short of me. Thanks. Thanks.
Whoa.
How did you get a black
Very black.
eye?
Just might happen.
Thank you. Mary Miggett, 725 Monmouth Avenue. First off, I have a lot of thank yous. First of all, to this town of Kenworth. It is probably the best town around. I spend my winters in Florida with 193,000 people. You do not get the things that you get done here, down there. The people, helpful and so forth. I want to compliment Mark David and his DPW. No one cleaned up like they did. They were there and it was gone. I want to really thank Jerry Ladani. On the end of my block, they have bushes, and they were this high over me. So when Lister Terrace, I'm on Monmouth, when you would come down, you could not see a car coming, you could not see a pedestrian walking. And neighbors were saying to me, Mary, is there anything we could do? I called Jerry the very next day. In the morning, I walked the dog. They were there. I walked the dog at night and I went, what's done? They were right back where they're supposed to be, where you could see over it. Because you don't realize it until you're walking. But if a car comes whipping around the corner and you're walking, he's on top of you before you ever see him. So it was an accident waiting to happen. And they did, the fire department did an unbelievable job at St. Teresa's pumping out the water. We lost about $500 worth of food in the pantry. You opened the doors and the water just came out. I do want to put it out there. Anyone that is in need, if they contact St. Teresa's, they will get a hold of me. We can help them. Food-wise, clothes-wise, whatever. If they need something, give us a call. Anybody wants to donate food, that's acceptable too. We also donated food to that Elizabeth, the 500 families that were put out in,
600, yeah.
I really don't know where that Oak something is. Oakwood, I don't know what, and I was from Elizabeth, I
It's
can't.
all Morris.
And so they said it's on Morris,
Have you
yes.
seen a park over there?
So we gave them like peanut butter, jelly, cereal, all the stuff that you could,
Thank
without
goodness.
having to heat or anything else. At least 10 years ago, I came to the board, I came to the planning board fighting for impervious coverage. Because of the impervious coverage, people are covering too much of their properties. We wouldn't have, don't get me wrong, this water still would have came, but it wouldn't have been as bad if we didn't cover up all the ground around it. On Michigan Avenue, I know Kenny Rowinski always said the guy behind him could cut his grass with a scissor. He has a pool, he has a deck, he's got a patio, he's got a shed. This is all on the back property. You know where the water goes? Kenny's yard, into his back. How did this get through? How did it not, someone seeing it and stopping them? The other thing I have to say, Linda, you've worked so hard to tell people about the buildings that we want to put up. This is not something that came last night. This has been going on for 30 years. It's not something that we say, well, we think we ought to do it. It's something that's mandatory. If we don't do it, the state's going to do it. And then when I see people come in and say that we're going to put up shacks, we're going to put up these tenements, I don't care if you're a Democrat, a Republican, an independent, or anything. Why in the world would you build tenements? This is not a house, even if you were building in Elizabeth, if you were building in Irvington, and the poor people in Irvington that was said that that was their house. Those pictures were of Dubai. Let's get our facts straight before we start saying that we shouldn't be building. Get the facts straight. We need to build. Nobody said we're building tomorrow. We have to get all our ducks in a row. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Does anyone else have anything? Okay. Seeing no one, is there a motion, if there's nothing else to be brought before the public portion, can I have a motion to close the floor to the public?
I'll second.
Motion made by Councilman David, seconded by Councilman Puglisi. All in favor?
Aye.
Does anyone else have anything to say for the good and welfare of the borough? There's
Just I
nothing.
hope to see everyone here Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now that school's open, everybody, just keep an extra eye open when you're driving to work, certainly. And, we've got crossing guards at most of our dangerous intersections, but sometimes they don't. Sometimes kids prefer not to cross where the crossing guard is. So just drive, slow down a little bit, especially during the morning hours.
I have something to add to that. Just be wary on the boulevard. If you see somebody stop in front of you, let somebody cross, don't go around them and try to pass it, because that's what they're letting people go, to cross, the pedestrians. So be safe that, look for that, and stop when you see another car stop to the right or left of you.
Okay, great advice. If there's nothing else to be brought before the council, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion made by Councilman Puglisi, seconded by Councilman Pence. All in favor? Aye. Thank you, everyone. I'd like to make a motion to close executive session.
So moved.
Okay.
Can't make a motion,
Yeah, we have to.
I make a motion. we-
Oh, what am I saying? Who's got a motion? Oh, my gosh.
We need a motion.
I haven't had dinner. We need a motion.
I make a motion.
Second.
Okay. Thank you.
Councilwoman Cesari?
Yes.
Councilman David?
Yes.
Councilman Finestrello?
Yes.
Councilman Ladati?
Yes.
Councilman Pence?
Yes.
And Councilman Puglisi?
Yes.
We are back in regular session.
Okay. Is there a motion to appoint redevelopment attorney Inglesino Webster, Wiscalla and Taylor LLC, 600 Parsippany Road, Suite 204, Parsippany, New Jersey?
I will make a motion to accept their services.
Second.
Councilwoman Cesari?
Yes.
Councilman David?
Yes.
Councilman Finestrello?
Yes.
Councilman Ladati?
Yes.
Councilman Pence?
Yes.
And Councilman Puglisi?
Yes.
The motion passes.
Okay, excellent. Okay. If there's nothing else to be brought before the council, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Time to go.